All right. So as promised, I'm going to show you guys a quick tutorial on how to draw support and resistance, probably the easiest way possible. I like to keep it simple. I know a lot of you do too. A lot of people like to complicate things. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. This video is going to be pretty quick and you'll love it. So I use TOS for those of you that don't know the platform in front of you. To my left, I have pre-market turned off. And on the right, I have it on. So a lot of people will tell you pre-market does not matter, which I'm actually going to do another video on that, showing you that it does matter. So let's go ahead and just keep it simple. So from green to red, that would be resistance. Let's see that color change, right? And what I want to do is every time I'm marking it is I like to mark it from the candle, the body of the candle, not no wicks, and I'll show you why. So again, the reason why I have pre-market turn off on the left is because the majority of the volume comes in within the first 2 hours of the market and during power hour, which is the last hour of the market open. So that is why. So let's go ahead and mark our support, which would be color change from red to green. And it's also gonna, so what we'll do is we'll do first do support and resistance, and then before I start throwing demand and supply in there, we'll just go one thing at a time. So there's support, right? Come over here, look at that. The hourly candle never closed below that, right? So that means that that's valid. So what happens if it closes above, or let's say, for example, this was the resistance, right, at 171.89 from, again, the color change, red or green or red, but top of that body, not the wick. And what happens if we gap up? So technically, I would love trading this setup. You know, we tested it, it came up, couldn't hold. Come over here, there's our resistance there at 172.8 from the prior day, or, you know, you could even move it there. Again, we gapped up, right? So we couldn't hold, the candle never closed above, so this is still valid. And this, since it gapped up and it retested it until it finally broke under and then it became resistance again, it's still valid. Towards the end of the day, again, to the cent, 171.89 resistance. There's your wake up, down, down, right? And there is support there towards the end of the day before going into power hour at 170.54. So that's when you would keep that, because a lot of people ask, like, would you delete it? If it gaps up and then, you know, it does that retest and then falls under, then no, I would keep it. It's still valid. But what happens if, let's say, let's look back at some previous actions so I can give you an example. What happens if, oops, let's use this one for example. So this support here, and again, sometimes it'll do this, right? So what I like to do is I just go whichever one's lower here, right? Or which one's higher, because sometimes you'll get like these candles or like these price levels right here, kind of like this, kind of like giving you mixed signals. And what I do is I just move it to whatever's higher or lower to kind of give me a better sense of resistance or support. Anyways, so we had support here. The next 2 days, you know, it held the next day, and the next day we completely sold off. So once the hourly candle closes through that level, whether it be in support or resistance, it is no longer valid. Simple. You just move on to the next one. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So that was, let's see, break of support. Let's see a resistance. I'll give you a resistance one before we move on to supply and demand real quick. Resistance, here we go. No, I don't like that one. We do this one. So the resistance came down during the day, broke over. That resistance is no longer valid. Simple, right? Because now you got support there, that resistance is gone. until it breaks again. So now you got resistance here. That's gone. And that was kind of close to what we had before, but you know, you go with the new level. You always want to go into the next day or whatever, like fresh price action. Like you don't want to carry on a week before support or resistance, whatever that we already blew through. Some people will be like, oh man, I had that still and it was valid. Look at that. Like, nah, you don't want to do that. Trust me. That's just people being lazy. Put in the work, you'll get better results. So next up, we got supply or demand. Sorry. I always get those two mixed up. What you want to see is something like this, like a big bullish engulfing kind of aggressive move up. And then what you want for sure is a red candle before that. So here's your example right here. And you would want to go with the lower wicks between these two. So this one being lower than the green one. Say if the green one was lower, you go with the green one because it's just what it is. And you want to go to the open of that candle. And then you stretch it out. Boom. There's demand. Now you got something to watch for. So like, let's say we come down here. If you watch my video going into this week, because I didn't cover this. Let's say we sell off, break 170. Here's the demand zone. So really what we want is a break below this 167.63. But since it's on the hourly, you know, the bigger the time frame, the bigger the move. Let's look on here. So it's on the weekly that I was looking at. Here we go. Weekly actually has another. So remember I told you the wick, right? This green wick's bigger than this red. There's the setup. Go to the, that's actually the close. We don't want the close, we want the open. Open of that candle. Come over here. And with it being weekly, it's going to be a stronger reaction to it as to the hourly, because you can see why, right? So it got set up, orders got filled again, and it hasn't came back since. Now we're getting near it. So that's where I'm, you know, assuming we're going to continue selling off. And this is going to be the better bounce spot for Apple until we knife through it and then continue lower. I'm not sure where we're going here yet. I kind of just gauge it weekly, daily, you know, kind of day-to-day basis. Everything changes, you know, FOMC, CPI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the stars are aligned for, you know, another move down. So just play your zone, see how we react, and that's what it is. So there's a demand. So now let's look at supply. Same thing, just inversed. Remember, so you want a big aggressive move like this, followed by a green candle like that. Go to the open of that candle. Let's stretch it out. Change it to red. Boom. There's supply. We haven't been there in a while. We probably won't get there for a while. Never know. Just kind of depends on whatever Apple does and whatever our market's doing. I think the top is in for the year, in my opinion, but that doesn't mean everything else is top is in. Like AMD still hasn't hit all-time high. Everything else has hit all-time highs except for AMD and like Netflix and Meta, you know. So anyways, there's supply. Let's look for supply on another example just so you guys can better understand it. Like right here. It came close. Higher wick, go to the open. And this is the 4-hour frame. Twisting my words up all day today. Crazy. I'm just a human being. Anyways, boom. So Friday we hit almost the top of that, sold off. Simple, right? Watch how we react on the smaller frames. And again, here's another one. All right, change the color. So I know. Then make it transparent so you can see through. Boom. Supply there, demand there. A little bit bigger, but again, this is the 4-hour. But yeah, hopefully this video provided some kind of education for some of you that were getting a little confused on it. And again, like I said, the bigger the time frame, the bigger the move. So if you're going from weekly and daily supply and demand, you're going to get a bigger reaction as to the hourly or the 4 hour. You know, if it's untested like this was, you're going to want to be watching for a rejection. It's automatic no brainer. If it's untested, you want to automatically catch the bounce, right? But if it's been tested a couple times, you're going to want to watch for a breakout, or if we gap above, if we hold. So that's how you would play that. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments, whatever. You want to join my Discord, that's free. And I got a couple friends, people, you know, I got over 50 people there. We're there every day sharing our ideas, whatever you want to come trade. If you're alone, whatever, hop in, come check us out. So see you guys tomorrow, pre-market, and trade smart, trade safe. Peace out.